Hey everybody, welcome to Money's No Object. I'm your host, Dylan Howell. This is episode number 390 of our YouTube channel and podcast, and I could not be more excited to continue sharing with you guys personal finance topics that I think could be useful for you in your long-term financial journey. Today, we are going to be talking about credit cards because this is another Fundamental Friday, right? So I want to give you guys some very practical, fundamental information that I think could be useful to you. If you're just getting started in the personal finance world, you want to understand things better, then I think this can be a useful topic, right? We're going to talk about credit cards and credit card rewards and how you may want to use credit card rewards, how credit cards should be used in general, what they are, right? All the real basic things when it comes to credit cards. Again, this type of episode, if it's not useful to you, then you can just move right along to one of the other ones. But I think this can provide a lot of value to you all who may want to know the pitfalls of credit cards, the value of credit cards, and exactly how they may need to be used in reality. So stick around for a discussion of all that and more in today's episode. Before we get started though, if you could go down below, hit the big red subscribe button, like this video, leave me any feedback in the comments down below, and I'll be sure to respond to anything you leave down there. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify podcasts, be sure to subscribe and leave me a review on either one of those platforms. Follow me on social media at MNO with Dylan, and that's really good supplemental materials to all the things I'm putting out in these long form episodes on YouTube and the podcast every single day. And then if you need somebody to help you to build a financial plan and keep you accountable to that plan over the long term, then I can do that. Just DM me on any of the major social media sites and tell me that you are interested in financial coaching sessions. And you and I can begin working together, pushing towards your long-term financial goals and ultimately pushing you on towards long-term financial freedom, which is what I hope for every single individual who's watching or listening to this show on a day-to-day basis. Now, look, I've said it once and I'll say it again, and you'll probably hear me say it a million times while I do this show, right? Not this episode, but just this show in general, right? I don't like debt, right? And I think that debt is a strain on your cash flow. I know debt is a strain on your cash flow. I think that debt holds you back from being financially successful, from being wealthy, from doing all the things that you want to do financially over a long period of time. I think debt hinders that, right? And the worst of the worst types of debt are the higher interest rate debts or the shorter term debts, right? Are the ones where it's just you spending because you wanted to spend, not because anything was needed. It's just because you just decided you wanted to spend more money, right? And a lot of debts are that way, right? But one that is particularly egregious in that manner is the credit card, right? And I've already gotten off on a negative foot with the credit card, but there's a reason that I do so. Right? I do this because I don't want you guys to be lost on the fact that credit cards are dangerous. Okay, let's just start there. All right, the credit card is a dangerous instrument and it is a debt instrument, period. Right? A credit card is a debt instrument. Now, does it have to be used as debt? No, right? But it is a debt instrument. I'll explain that as we move forward here shortly, right? Because what do we do with a credit card, right? You go and you have some maximum, amount that you can spend on your credit card, right? They call it your limit, right? Your credit card limit. So let's say your credit card limit is $10,000. So you could put $10,000 worth of goods and services and whatever you could buy on a credit card. And then ultimately what happens? Then they don't let you spend any more money once you hit that limit, okay? Until you pay that limit all the way back down to a value that you could continue spending money from, right? But what do we want, right? We want to be out of debt. We don't want to be in debt. And we're in debt if we have a balance, okay? What do I mean by that? You're in debt if when your credit card statement comes back around, you have a balance. That is a debt. That is a debt that must be paid, right? And what do I mean by balance? So let's say you've got that $10,000 limit and you go out and you buy a PS5, right? And, some games and stuff to go with. Let's say you spend $1,000, right? And then you get your credit card statement the beginning of the next month and it says $1,000 is your balance, right? And so that means you got $9,000 of your limit left, right? But you've got a $1,000 balance, meaning that you owe the credit card company $1,000, okay? That was debt that you used, okay? Now you could very easily just go ahead and pay off that $1,000 debt, If you have the $1,000, absolutely you can do so. The problem is that people go out and they use credit cards when they don't have the money to repay, right? That they wouldn't be able to just, pay with a debit card. They wouldn't just be able to pay with their checking account. And that's the biggest disconnect, I think, with credit cards, is the people who use it as if it is their checking account, and in a good way, right? Thinking like, okay, I have the money to spend on this in my bank account. I just use my credit card and then I pay it off with my bank account, right? And we'll talk about why you would do that, right? And then there's other people who go, well, I don't have this money in my checking account, my bank account, so I'm going to use the credit card to pay for it because I want it now, right? Because we're in this instant gratification world where we just want everything today. We want it immediately. And in wanting it immediately, then ultimately what happens? We go into debt. We owe money that we cannot repay at the end of the month. And so credit card companies allow you to, make these minimum payments that are far less than your balance and just slowly but surely pay on things and maybe never really make any headway towards getting them paid off, which is not what we want, right? So what does a credit card need to be used for, and what's it look like to use it responsibly? Well, obviously to use it responsibly would be to, pay for something with your credit card, but pay for that thing knowing that you have all the money that you would spend on it in your checking account and that you have budgeted for that thing and you know that you have the money, the income to pay for that thing. And then before the end of the month, or once the statement comes in, or whatever, right? Go ahead and pay the entire balance of the credit card off, because you shouldn't have purchased anything on that credit card that was not within your monthly budget, right? Nothing, right? And you pay the entire balance off. Then you may go, well, then what's the point of the credit card? Isn't the credit card supposed to let me consume more and consume earlier? Well, that would be what's beneficial for the credit card company. But then ultimately, what's the credit card company doing? They are making money off of you in the form of interest, right? And these high interest rates associated with credit cards, which is a big detriment to consumers that use credit cards all the time and that don't have the money to repay. But if you just repay your balance in full every single month, then what happens? Well, then you never accrue interest, right? You accrue no interest on your credit card, which is great, right? But then you go again, well, why would you use it? Well, I'll tell you why you use it. You use it because that can allow you to build credit, right? My wife and I, we do not have car loans. We do not have student loans anymore. I paid mine off long ago and far away. Right? We do not have car loans. We do not have student loans. We do not have any other type of debt, right? We don't have anything. We have credit cards, right? And we use those credit cards in that responsible way, in the way that we're only buying things that we budget for and that we can pay for in cash with our credit cards. And then once we do so, we pay them off every single month. Okay. And why do we do that? We do that in order to build up our credit. And I mean, this is like, okay, well, then what's the point if you don't have any other debt? Well, we're going to want to buy a home this year, actually, right? We're moving. And so we're going to look to buy a home this year. Well, if you don't have any credit, then getting a home loan is going to be far more difficult. Not impossible, far more difficult. Okay. Now, again, I'm going to talk here shortly that the benefits of the credit card are far less than the dangers. But getting a home loan would be difficult without any credit score, right? So the credit card allows us to keep our credit score up. Then also, there are rewards associated with credit cards. Now, again, benefits aren't going to outweigh the pain that can come, or the downside to the credit card, right? So we'll talk about that. But there are rewards that you can gain from using credit cards, whether it be cash back or airline miles or whatever. Specifically, we like to use our credit cards for the airline miles, right? We have, Southwest credit cards that, we put a lot of things on, and then we fly for free, which is, a pretty good deal if you're buying the things that you already need with your credit cards. Now, some people may say, well, Dylan, using the credit card, you're going to end up spending more over, a long period of time because, it doesn't have the friction that, your own bank account would or that cash would. And I totally agree with that, right? That is correct. You will end up spending marginally more over time. Okay, but if I already budget for it, if I'm going to spend that money anyway, then fine. It would be irresponsible if I'm not budgeting and I don't know how much I'm going to spend on things and I'm just willy-nilly spending all in the name of getting rewards, because that is irresponsible. And then what does that turn into? And then why are they giving you these rewards in the first place? They're giving them to you because they know, okay, if we can make them think that, hey, we're going to be able to, just get all this cash back pooled up or all these airline miles pooled up. And then, people start spending just in the name of, I need airline miles. Then they have debt that they can't repay, right? And then what happens? That credit card company starts making interest on the fact that you can't repay your debt in full. All right, so there's a danger. There's a danger to credit cards, right? And ultimately, I think that credit cards are not as beneficial as they are dangerous, right? But it takes a lot of self-awareness when you have a credit card, right? Or to understand whether or not you should have one in the first place, right? If you are somebody who has the proclivity to spend irresponsibly when given the chance, if you've done this before, if you've built up credit card balances before and struggled to get out of credit card debt, or if you're still in credit card debt, then you don't need any more credit cards. You need to pay your credit cards off and get rid of them, cut them up, be done. Okay? Because that is only going to be a detriment to your ability to build long-term financial freedom and to build wealth in your financial life. It's going to be a detriment to doing so. Okay? But if you are financially responsible, if you do budget, if you don't overspend substantially on anything, right? If you only pay for what you budget for and all these, then by all means, use the credit card, use it responsibly, right? I would even suggest that you use it in a way where you set up automatic repayment every single month of the entire balance, because in not doing so, even the best of us could end up forgetting to pay the balance, right? And then you're stuck with interest that you have to pay, and then the credit card company won, right? Which again is not what we want. So my advice, at least initially here, right, is that if you do not spend responsibly and you know that you're a big spender, and you know that if given the chance to have a credit card limit, then you're going to, max everything out or come pretty close or just overspend irresponsibly, then you don't need to have a credit card. But if you can spend responsibly, buy the things that you're going to buy anyway, but just use a credit card and then repay it over time, then by all means, have a credit card. Now, what about those credit card rewards, right? Isn't it enough to say, hey, I can get these rewards, I should have a credit card? That should be a big pull in getting a credit card or not. I don't think that's true. I don't think it's true that whether or not you have a credit card should be based on the rewards that are offered to you. I think whether or not you have a certain card should be based on the rewards that are offered to you. Absolutely. Right? Because I don't think you should just have, any little basic credit card. I don't think that should be the case. I think if you can qualify for one, then you should have a credit card that gives you some type of benefit. So for instance, two that my wife and I use that are very beneficial to us just based on our purchases and our lifestyle and the things that we want to do. Again, Southwest Airlines, right? Having a Southwest Airlines credit card allows us to fly for free. And then we also have an Amazon credit card. And if you don't know what an Amazon credit card does, then let me go ahead and tell you. Builds up cash back, but if you spend the Amazon credit card, if you spend the money using that card on Amazon, you get 5% cash back for everything that you buy on Amazon, right? Which is super beneficial if you buy a lot of stuff on Amazon, which I'm not saying we're crazy on Amazon, but I mean, they're convenient. And, typically if we want to buy things at reasonable prices, then they're a good place to go, and you can get your stuff pretty quickly. So we buy a lot of stuff on Amazon, 5% cash back on everything that we buy on Amazon, right? So you end up only spending you're getting a 5% sale on everything that you're buying on Amazon just by using that card, right? So again, very useful, very beneficial in that way. But if none of those benefits were offered to us, we wouldn't just have credit cards just to have them. Like I have an old one from when I was, just trying to start building credit when I was younger. And it doesn't have any substantial benefit. It does have cash back, but the cash back isn't great. But we don't use it, right? I have it and don't really use it, right? We use the ones that benefit us the most, as should you, right? You should try to maximize your credit card benefits. Now, within reason, okay? I don't want you going out and saying like, oh, I'm going to try to do triple backflips in order to, make the most in credit card rewards that I can, because then what you're going to end up doing is overspending in a very, very real way, right? But find one that maybe has something to do with the airline that you fly with, or a particular, not store that you use. Even though an Amazon credit card may be seen as a store credit card, I can use it anywhere, right? And store credit cards are a problem in and of themselves, right? Because you go to the register and you go, well, I do come here a lot and I could get a discount here, but then that leads people into overspending at that particular store, all in the name of, let me get credit card benefits, credit card rewards. So if you want to maximize your rewards, there's really 5 things that you can do, which I think can be really useful, right? First, you need to use the right card, right? So using a rewards card for all your purchases can help you to earn cash back, points, miles, whatever, right? And if you use the card at the right time, you can maximize the amount of rewards that you earn. Okay, so again, finding the card that works best for you. If you want to earn the most amount of rewards possible, right, then you use certain cards for certain things and other ones for others, which again is kind of what me and my wife do. We basically put everything, or most things, on our Southwest credit cards, and then allow the the Amazon stuff to go onto that one for that particular reason. But you can get a little more involved, but don't do too many backflips in just trying to maximize your rewards. Okay, now. Earning a welcome bonus is also very useful, and I know this is something that we did with our Southwest credit cards. If you want to maximize your rewards, right, they'll offer you a welcome bonus that basically says, hey, if you can spend a certain amount on the card over some period of time, and it's typically not outrageous, right, then we'll give you this upfront reward. And so I think with the Southwest credit card, it was if you can spend $2,000 on it in 3 months, and spending $2,000 in 3 months in a household of me, my wife, and my son is not anything crazy, right? So just putting most things on, groceries, gas, on the credit card, and then getting the reward, right? So earning that welcome bonus becomes quite easy to do. And most cards have this, and it can allow you to really maximize and kind of jumpstart the benefits that you get from the credit cards. Then you also want to check, see if there are some limited time offers. So card issuers, they often run limited time offers that can provide elevated reward rates, right? Which could be beneficial to you. Now check that you're signed up for marketing emails from that issuer so you get the latest news. Now, I don't love that. I don't love being signed up for marketing materials. Gosh, we get them in the mail all the time and basically just go straight in the trash, right? But you may find something that can be beneficial. Every now and then I'll see a credit card deal that I'm like, ooh, that might be cool. But I'll get to in a second why we don't want to have too many of them. Anyway, then recently many issuers, they provide bonus rewards on groceries and food delivery to meet consumers' increased spending. You may even receive targeted offers that allow you to earn extra rewards for a certain time period. It's a good idea to take advantage of these offers since they often run for a short amount of time, but can help you optimize rewards. Then you can also, in order to maximize your credit card benefits, you can combine points. So if you have multiple cards from the same issuer, there's a good chance you can combine rewards, right? So you can pool points and redeem them for some bigger rewards. So typically you can only transfer or combine rewards with cards from the same issuer and between the same types of cards, such as a point card to another point card. For instance, Amex allows you to transfer rewards between cards that earn membership rewards, such as the American Express Gold Card or Platinum Card. Meanwhile, Chase provides you the flexibility to transfer points between Ultimate Rewards cards, such as the Chase Freedom or Chase Sapphire cards, right? So you can combine your points to get the most out of them. And then the fifth thing that they have here, this is a CNBC Select article, and I'm glad that they put this on here, and it's the kind of the icing on top, right? It's the icing on the cake as far as how do you maximize your credit card rewards. You pay off your balance. You pay off your bill in full, right? So making on-time payments is the most important factor of your credit score, and essentially, is essential to getting the most value out of your credit card rewards. Since credit card interest rates are in the double digits and reward rates are typically single digits, carrying a balance can offset your earnings, right? To avoid missing out on rewards and accruing debt, pay off your statement balance in every billing cycle, right? That's a great point. So just think about that Amazon card that I was telling you about, right? 5% cash back. Well, the interest rate, honestly, I don't know what the interest rate on it is because I don't ever accrue interest on my credit cards, right? But typical credit card, let's say 15, 20, 25%, right? Let's say 20%, okay? If you accrue 20% interest, right, on the balance that you have, but only 5% in the rewards, then you're still losing 15%, right? So that's why it's so important that we can't be overspending in the name of collecting rewards, right? Because then you're sitting there and you're like, oh, I got all these rewards. Well, those rewards are just a fraction of what you ended up paying in the way of interest for that particular card. So it's just not worth it. Pay your bill in full. You'll be better off because of it, right? So ultimately, right, what do I think? I think that credit cards are a tool, right, that can be used. But do I think that they are designed to be a tool? I don't, right? Credit cards are not designed to be a tool for the consumer. Credit cards are designed to be a money-making operation for the credit card companies. Just period. That's just what it is, right? It is a way for them to lend money in a more effective way, right? In a more useful way, because you don't have to go to the bank to get a loan to spend this money and then go and pay. You don't have to do all that, right? All you got to do is just sign up for the credit card. They'll send it to you in the mail, and then you've got it until it expires, right? And then they'll send you another one, right? And just on and on and on it goes, okay? So it's a very easy way for them to make money, and it's a very easy way for you to lose money if you allow the credit card company to get the better of you, right? Credit card interest rates are too high for us to be paying interest on credit cards. It is not worth it. It is not going to be valuable to us. What is going to be valuable to us if we need to have a credit score is effectively using a few cards, allowing ourselves to pay them off every single month with money that we've already budgeted, and only using the cards for things that we've budgeted for, and not using the cards for any and everything that we ever feel like we should have. I've never come close to a credit card limit, never once come close to a credit card limit, and you really shouldn't, right? Unless you're planning to have this huge expense and you've already saved up money for it, and you decide, hey, let me just put it on the card so I can get rewards, and then you can pay it off with the cash that you have. That's fine, right? But that's not something that we need to get in the habit of doing, getting really close to the limit, because if you're close to the limit, that probably means that you're not paying it off in full, and if you're not paying it off in full, then you are not maximizing the rewards, and you're also actually feeling the pain of the credit card, because the credit card does provide so much in the way of pain to people. I say provide because it gives it right to you, right? It really does not hold back when it comes to the danger, right? To the things that can really hurt the individual. The amount of interest is debilitating, right? The ability to just have it in your pocket and be addicted to the spending of it is debilitating, right? So I just don't want you to think that you're so great that you can outsmart the billion, tens of billion, hundreds of $1 billion credit card companies. I don't think that any of us are. But I do think that if you're a good steward of your finances, if you are effective in spending money based on a budget, if you know what you're doing, if you don't have the proclivity to overspend and use this like it's extra money, then you can absolutely benefit from a credit card. But we need to just always think, this can get us in trouble. This can get us in trouble. This can be bad if we allow it to be bad. If you allow it to overtake your budget, overtake your spending in a normal way, then it can absolutely be a bad thing and just be another debt that gets added to our, part 4 of the financial action plan that you need to pay off, and then ultimately cut that credit card up, cut those credit cards up. But I do think if you're going to have a credit card or have a couple credit cards, yeah, you may want to maximize your benefits or whatever, but having more than a couple cards is just, it's kind of, counterproductive, right? You're trying to do too much with, too few resources, right? You're trying to make sure that you use the perfect card at the perfect place. Just find a couple that benefits you in a more widely used manner, and then just use them, right? And, like I said, me and my wife really only use the Southwest cards and then the Amazon ones. And then other than that, I mean, really nothing else, okay? So I hope this helps you to understand credit cards better, right? I want you to understand what a credit card is, how to use it, how to be effective, right? If you're out there and you're 18, 19, 20, 21, 20, if you're just getting started in your financial life and you're like, I have to have a credit card, you don't, right? You don't have to have a credit card. Can it be useful to help you build credit? Sure. If you're, somebody who's good with your finances, can you get one? Sure, right? But maybe you have, if your parents are good with their finances as well, that's a caveat to this all, right? Maybe you say, hey, mom, dad, can you put me as a user on your credit card? That can allow you to build credit as well. And then they can oversee your spending. But you don't want to get to the point where their misuse of the card is hurting your credit as well, right? So again, making sure your parents are good with money as well. But maybe you get a credit card, maybe you can use it in an effective way. But please don't confuse it for being another source of income or being a grant or any type of free money. This is money that must be repaid. This is money that is not going to go away easily if you don't repay it either, right? And it's only going to hurt you if you misuse and abuse the credit cards that you end up having. So just be smart, please. Be self-aware, please, right? I don't want you to get off on the wrong foot as a young person in your personal finances just because you heard somebody say it's okay to use a credit card. Please be aware of the dangers. Please be aware that this can ruin your financial life if you allow it to do so. And I don't want it to do so. I only want to help you to build up your financial life, right? So if you have any, fear about using one, if you have any, hesitation, then it's okay not to, right? And could you still get a home loan eventually? Sure, right? Are you going to have to jump through more hoops? Sure. You're going to have to show them that you pay your bills and you pay them on time and you do all these things. And, but you can't have any credit score at all. You can't have just kind of like this crappy credit score. There must be either a great credit score that you built up using your credit card or whatever, or there must be no credit score, an indeterminable credit score. And then you'll have to go through some very difficult, very stringent underwriting. But it can still be done. So don't think that it's the end of the world if, a credit card doesn't work for you or is not right for you. You can still be successful in your financial life, buy a house, do all the things that you want to do. And then, of course, everything else we pay for in cash because that's what we do, right? That's how you get to long-term financial freedom in the most efficient way. You pay for things in cash and don't finance things that it's not necessary to finance. So again, I hope this helps you guys. I hope you understand on a more fundamental level what credit cards are, how they can be used, how you can maximize your rewards on a reasonable scale, right? And then what the dangers of credit cards are and what you need to be looking out for if you sign up for one. So thanks for watching this video. If you could go down below, hit the big red subscribe button, like this video, leave me any feedback in the comments down below, and I'll be sure to respond to anything you leave down there. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify podcasts, be sure to subscribe and leave me a review on either one of those platforms. Follow me on social media at MNO with Dylan. And that's really good supplemental materials to all the things that I'm putting out in these long form episodes on YouTube and the podcast every single day. And if you need somebody to help you with your personal finances and to help you to build a financial plan and keep you accountable to that plan over the long term, then I can do that. Just DM me on any of the major social media sites and tell me that you are interested in financial coaching sessions. And you and I can begin working together, pushing towards your long-term financial goals and ultimately pushing you on towards long-term financial freedom, which is what I hope for every single individual who's watching or listening to this show on a day-to-day basis. So tune in Monday as I continue talking about personal finance topics that I think can be useful for you in your long-term financial journey. So thanks for tuning into this episode of Money's No Object. I'm your host, Dylan Howell. God bless.